In the darkest of night, one man sits alone in front of a camera. He is the Mad Montreal Man, and this is On the Peg with me, of course. And today, it's Mafex Monday. One of the last ones for a while, but as promised, we are doing, from the Hush series, Darwin Cook-inspired Catwoman. But wait, we're not going to just stop there. This is going to be like a Catwoman bonanza, because we've also got the Selina Kyle Mafex. And give you a heads up, we will be doing a comparison with a whole bunch of other Catwomen. Yeah, Catwomen. Why not? To see which one out of all of them is going to be my number one Catwoman going forward. So what do you say? We're going to start off with, well, let's start off with the Selina Kyle. Because I figure, why not? Let's get Selina out of the packaging. It's Mr. Scalpel time. Back in a moment. As you saw in the close-up, she is fairly detailed. I mean, the articulation is fantastic. She really can be posed in a lot of different ways. The goggles go up and down. I like that. There are a few things with this Selina Kyle that bother me a little bit. It seems to be a thing with Mafex is, to me, it's the shoulders. They could use that extra little cup in the shoulders. And, of course, the height. Now, just for comparison, you knew I was going to do this. Let's look at the DC Multiverse Selina Kyle. So you can see the height difference. Okay. Now, detail-wise, well, I do like some of the patterning they did in the Mafex, but when it comes to these two, hands down, Multiverse wins. Even though the belt's not loose, which it is in the Mafex, I'd give it to the Multiverse one because I like the height, the details are there, and you don't have that weird shoulder gap. So far, this Mafex, it's alright, but it's nowhere near as good as this one. Shall we move on to the one we've all been waiting for? The Darwin Cook-inspired Selina Kyle out of the Hush series. Let's get Mr. Scalpel out again and get her out of her package. That first cut is always the deepest. Back in a moment. I forgot to mention the Selina Kyle, the older one, came with just a few extra hands, nothing much. The Darwin Cook-inspired one, that one is packed. You have two different heads you can swap out, a whole bunch of hands, and something a little weird is it's a torso you can swap out. But, you saw in the close-up, I just went with the head that she came with, and I forgot to take out the whip. So let's put the whip in her hand and let's take a look at her. A good look at her. Now, as for the whip, it is solid. It's probably why I didn't take it out. Okay, so right off the bat, I will say she is well sculpted. The face on all three is really nice and detailed. I like the way she looks. The alternate torso is basically a different colored belt. The shoulders problem is still there, but if you pose her properly, you don't see it as well. And articulation is through the roof with the Mafex one. But you know I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a comparison because I'm evil that way. I am so evil. So, but unlike just comparing it to one Catwoman, we're going to have a few comparisons here. Now, this is the DC Direct Catwoman that I managed to get off a collector. Now, of course, the height, you know how I feel about the height. I like 7 inches. Now, when it comes to details, it's kind of hard to judge. I wish there was more detail in her face. Doesn't have the same shoulder problem. The outfit itself isn't bad. It's pretty well, you know, kind of what you expect. There's a nice, you know, pattern to everything. The Mafex one has a much better consistent color palette than, of course, the DC Direct. But we have another one to look at, Darwin Cook inspired. And that is, of course, the Arkham Asylum one. Now, 7 inches, even though a little bit shorter than this one, basically on the heels. This one, face sculpt is nice, detail, there's no alternative head. However, the color is not consistent. Mafex has consistent color all the way through. The DC Direct, pretty consistent. This one, the color patterns from top to bottom aren't the same. But you can't do a comparison of Catwoman without, of course, talking about the OG, the purple Catwoman. Now, there is a variant of her in gray. I would love to track that one down. Good luck, I know. Now, this one is more comic book accurate. And I will give it props. This is the best whip I've ever seen for a Catwoman. Period. Color is consistent for the most part. However, which one is what I think is the best Catwoman overall? This is where it gets a bit difficult. Because, you know, you have the really nice microphone, the really nice Selina Kyle from the movie. Very nice, very consistent. I do like this one. It definitely outshines its Mafex counterpart. You got the OG Catwoman in purple. Best whip. I like the black gloves. Good face sculpt. But I don't know. There's just something a little bit missing from this one. So it comes down to Darwin Cook inspired. Now, we have the Arkham Asylum one, which would be #1 if it didn't have the color problems. So that kind of knocks it to the #2 spot. The DC Direct, well, that one has pretty much everything going for it except 2 things. Posability, it's a bit limited, and the face could be a bit more detailed. So, even though I'm not a big fan of 6-inch, I will give the best Catwoman, Darwin Cook inspired that is, to Mafex, just because the color scheme is perfect all the way through, superposable. The shoulder thing, I could live without, you know, but you know, it's. I wish they did have the shoulder covers, but no, this is pretty much it. So when it comes to Catwoman, you basically have the winners. Darwin Cook goes to Mafex. DC Multiverse goes to Selina Kyle. And in some ways, they kind of could go together, daughter and mother, I don't know. But that's it for the Mafex Monday. Like I said previously, let me know what you want to see for the Friday episode, because we're filming that on Wednesday because my daughter's in town and I want to get everything filmed before she arrives. And that's it. Do your best, of course, to stay healthy. You kind of have to. You know, and of course, when you have a lot of Catwomen in your house, oh, if only, ha ha! It's a good way to stay happy. And fake it till you make it, or fake it till you get as good as faking it like I do. Do your best, stay positive, and we will see you on Friday night.